Chafing Armor Podcast, Chafing Armor Podcast.
Yeah.
I messed up. I'm probably going to leave that in. Chafing Armor Podcast, episode 49, Stormfront. Welcome back to the Chafing Armor Podcast. I'm your host, and ice creamed up, had some delicious ice cream just a moment ago, Dungeon Master Michael Corley. And with me tonight is Dare. Dare, tell everyone who you will be playing.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Dare, and I am playing Tix Birchmanson, your lovable cleric.
With us also tonight is James. James, tell everyone who you will be playing.
I will be playing a spell-scale sorcerer by the name of Penton Chalice, and I'm all ice creamed up too. What a coincidence!
Woo! Ice cream
jealous.
for everyone. Yes, we will mail Dare some ice cream.
I'm sure it'll be fine in the mail.
I'm sure it will.
I'll be
And
looking forward to it.
though you could not see her, if you listened very carefully on my recording, you heard a door open and close. Izzy actually had her wisdom teeth removed today.
Oh no!
So for very obvious and logical reasons, she will not be recording today since talking be hard.
Yeah.
But she is with us in spirit. We are hoping to get the inestimable Lee on later. Until that time, we are just going to roll forward with episode 49. When we last left our group, there were two different things that were going on. A murder mystery was being solved by Osokai and Tix. Tix, the woman he is slowly becoming more and more enamored with, Duncan, had been accused of murder, and they had discovered the culprit apparently being a druid woman driven mad by a strange belt that was found and kept by Osokai. We also had a recovery mission by Penton and Morezi, who recovered the earrings that gave the mysterious blind jeweler Skull the ability to see. Both of them were successful in different ways.
Yeah.
There are different ways. And we're actually going to open up exactly where we left off before. So, the last episode, what I want y'all to imagine is I want to imagine Tix. Tix, you have successfully saved Duncan from a hanging. Flush with victory with that badge safely stowed away in your pocket, you are making your way back to the chicken hut. The chicken hut is in one of its usual places. What would you like to do?
Is Duncan with us at the moment?
I'll leave that up to you.
Duncan and I are walking back from the police station towards the chicken hut, talking about the narrow escape of the timeline and all of our adventures, and I am thinking about taking another bottle of wine.
You have been saving it up, and as you had quite correctly put before, you haven't needed it, but you've been thinking about it, so maybe perhaps to celebrate. And as you come forward, you've noticed this before, that the chicken hut seems to sense your presence and lowers itself just slightly to make it easier for you to access it, and the door frame actually opens slightly. The chicken hut itself is only 5 feet by 5 feet wide, approximately the size of a modern outhouse. Of course, on chicken legs. Inside is much bigger. You walk inside along with Duncan, and you are met with a horror scene.
The wine better not be broken.
The wine is fortunately completely untouched, though it perhaps slightly spattered with blood. There you see Penton and Morezi inside, along with a young man who you quickly realize after a moment, wait a second, that was the guard. That was the young little teenager guard outside of Loft's estate. But he is now dressed basically like a badly put together ninja, like all in black, with a long sword at his side. And the hut itself is just covered in blood. And in the far corner is a corpse. Is the corpse of a male elf. The entire center of his chest completely blown outwards. Imagine if someone, say, like, someone really strong, like, I don't know, say Merezi, grabbed this blown up corpse and threw it inside the chicken hut and it struck the other side of the wall. What would happen to the inside of the hut? That is what you see right now. And I'll let y'all take it from there.
Well, Duncan, it looks like our evening is ruined.
She looks around in mild horror, and then she kind of smiles, and she says, I think maybe Loft was lucky that he never got hold of this hut.
Oh, well met,
So-
everyone. We've had a day. We've had the day. Oh boy, have we.
What happened?
Oh, well, you remember that lovely, I don't know if you met her, the lovely jeweler that we were working with on getting
Yes.
some gems processed and appraised and such. Well, she had something stolen from her, and we were helping her out, and it turns out that they were stolen by a gentleman who runs a mining group, as well as like all the a number of underworld dealings in town. And he was keeping them from himself, and we had to get them back from him. And then suddenly we were fighting each other, and he had a bunch of creepy dolls, and then he was dead. And we got the jewelry back, and now everyone's happy because the bad man is no longer bad.
Well,
The end.
it sounds almost as fun as what we did. We had Duncan accused of murder, and,
She interrupts. Falsely?
I should hope.
well, that's why you're here, sweetie. And we had to go track it down, and Bear Boy didn't want to work with me, and he went off searching on his own, and of course was one step behind me the whole way,
Of course.
and came across a mad druid, a sword in a tree, and
You mean like angry or crazy?
crazy.
Okay. I think
Got
all
the
druids
belt?
are at least a little crazy.
And turned out the sword in the tree was actually not a tree. It was our little pirate friend that we rescued. And he's now back to normal. And it's been quite the day of surprises.
Well, you and me both. By the way, sweetie. You said sweetie.
Child.
And with that, I have said before that the hut does actually have a door, and you hear a knock on the door.
Sweetie.
You're right by the door.
Would you step back, please? And I turn to the door and loosen my axe and open the door.
Okay. There is a town guard outside. Hello?
Yes.
Are you the, he kind of looks around, owner of this, residence?
For the most part.
Well, we have had some complaints of unusual activity in the area, and we just wanted to come inside and make sure everything is all right.
Pull out my badge, and I say, everything is well secure here.
And I want you to make a persuasion check with advantage since you have the badge.
Okay, persuasion.
Just, if you don't have that, it's just charisma.
That is a modified 20.
Gotcha. He sees the badge and he goes, "Oh, so, I'm terribly sorry, sir. I hope everything is all right."
The magical hut is just noisy on its own. We will try and keep it down. Magic items are often given to eccentricities.
I wouldn't know anything about that. They don't have any magical beings in the guard proper, but I will take your word for it, sir, and you have a good evening.
Thank you, Constable.
And the door shuts. And I forgot, by the way, because there was so much other fun things to talk about. There is also another corpse in the chicken hut. Inside, as I have said before, is bigger than the outside. It is about 30 feet by 30 feet. And near the center is a dais or a pedestal that comes up that has a skull on it with something unusual inside. And holding on to that skull is the withered corpse of a human female. She is desiccated. She is mummified. Just want to throw that in.
Yeah, that's something I was going to at the beginning of today's episode look a little bit further into, since that kind of jumped out at us last time around.
Yeah.
So and kind of figure out what the heck. So I'm gonna carefully approach this former person who's I'm assuming is still clutching the skull.
Yes.
Are they clutching it actively, or are they just sort of playing ragdoll at the mercy of the skull?
Well, they are playing ragdoll, but there's clearly something keeping them up, because they shouldn't be. They should just fall over because they're very, very dead.
Okay.
So some kind of magical effect or something is keeping them still holding on to the skull.
I'll just kind of carefully walk up and ready in my defensive glow, as it were, and just say, hello? Is there anyone in there?
Give me an Arcana check, and Tix, would you like to do anything?
I will do an Arcana check and religion check.
Okay, go for that as well.
All right, I got a 15.
Or my religion at 7. So that is a 26.
26.
Well, look it up.
So you are, for one thing, Pinson, you are absolutely sure that this woman is dead. Obviously, it's possible that she is undead, but you don't quite see any sign of that at the moment.
Okay.
What you can tell is that she was likely killed by magic. That's not really surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And you, with a 15 roll, the other thing that you really notice is that there is just a slight more kind of glow coming out of the skull than there was before. Tix, you actually succeed really well, but it's not just because of your religion. It's actually from your medicine.
Okay.
Because you succeeded so high, I'm going to say that you actually crossed over into your other skill when you were examining this woman. She is dead, and she is desiccated, but as far as you can tell, you think that every drop of blood has been removed from her body. And that is likely what killed her.
That does happen.
Yep. It does tend to be fatal.
Okay,
Yikes.
so I feel pinting in on her desicatedness. Do we have a stick or something to knock her away?
Well, I think you do have a stick.
Well, I've got a stick. Yeah, give the body a little gentle push and see if we can get it to come away, like at the chest. I don't want to touch the stick to the skull at this point.
Tap on the back of the knees and see if just collapsing her will put her down.
Okay. You take the back of your axe and kind of boop the back of the knee, and as if a marionette string is broken, she just instantly collapses to the ground and is just a withered heap on the ground and is very, very dead. And if there's anything necromantic going on about it, you cannot tell.
Sounds crunchy.
The only thing else that y'all hear right now is a slight spattering outside. It sounds like maybe a few raindrops are hitting the outside of the chicken hut.
Got it.
Just letting you know.
All right. I'm going to take a closer look at the... Tix, could you maybe take a look at the former person and see if we might be able to figure out who it was?
Okay, so I'm going to start rifling through her clothes and checking to see if there's any identifying marks or any identification.
Give me an investigation roll.
That is a lowly 6.
Okay. You can't really find a whole lot. The only thing that you find that, because you can't miss it, even if you had rolled poorly, is she does have a sort of script that is it's exchangeable for money at the mining facility, which when you show it to Pinson, he recognizes. It's basically script, just like in the old days where people would work at shanty towns and get paid by the locals and then never end up leaving. So you think this is probably someone who was from that shanty mining.
Okay. Do we know the name of the shanty mining town?
It didn't really have a name, to be perfectly honest. It was a mining facility, and it was called the Cobalt Mines, as in the mineral, not the creature that attacks y'all occasionally. But it was called the Cobalt Mines. Other than that, it didn't really have a name, and it was run by a gentleman named Hior, who is now
A heap on the floor.
somewhat a heap on the floor in here, yes.
Okay, so he brought a little help with them.
Right, meanwhile, I'm gonna take a closer look at the skull and see if I can figure out what's going on there. You say it's glowing, yeah?
And on the sides, you do see something new. You actually see little protrusions that have come out from the skull. And you are quite sure, because you've held the skull before, they were not there before. And they are sort of like little fangs. Or perhaps, if you weren't thinking of them that way, you would think of them as like little tiny horns.
Right.
And, it doesn't take a genius to realize that's probably what got this person.
Yeah,
Right.
Hinton, don't touch the skull.
Yeah. I'm feeling very lucky right now. Because it's entirely possible that could have happened to me at some point.
Seems highly possible.
I'm gonna throw a detect magic at this thing.
Throw a detect magic at the skull?
Yeah, and
Okay.
whatever else might pop up, but generally the skull, yes.
So you cast a detect magic in the room. It allows you to see for, I believe, 30 feet around you anything that is magical. And the skull just radiates magic. Some of it is necromantic, and you really get a taste of those hags from here. Because what made those hags so very dangerous is when they made that coven, they were able to combine their skills in ways that magic doesn't normally work.
Right.
And so there's a very strong necromantic feeling from this skull, but you also sense several other like transmutation, being able to change into other things. You sense what you would normally feel in, like, say, a golem, like an animation type spell.
Right.
So it's just a real melange of spells that are just woven into the skull. And
so what I'm getting is a sense that they've kind of modified the intent of the hut and added some sort of blood sucking feature to it. Maybe attaching servants or whatever to power the thing or something, but all the other spells are, I'm assuming, kind of like run the hut itself, and they added in this necromantic element.
Very possibly. And I will, since sometimes it's quite a while between our recordings, I will mention that there was a time where you did actually hear a single word in Draconian come from the hut.
Can I say it?
And, oh, please.
Hungry.
Ah, nice. I'm totally going to put an effect on that. And you did hear that coming from the hut. You don't know if it was coming from the skull itself, but it was coming from somewhere. So I'll let you just kind of make with that what you will. But so y'all have a few things that you can deal with right now. What you're going to do with these two corpses that are currently inside the hut. You have Duncan here, the young man who identifies himself to you, Tix, as Kiris. He asks if Merezi would be willing to come back with him, that he thinks that there's still some unfinished business that they need to attend to outside of Loft's estate, that there might be something dangerous going on there, and he wants to investigate it a little more. And he asks her if they will come. Because she seems not smitten with him, like attractive, but she seems to like just be like he is just like an adorable puppy. So she clearly like wants to do this. And so unless y'all are going to stop him, the two of them are going to go off together to do a little investigation.
Oh, please do.
I never stop a smith.
And it is just, it's so clear. It's almost the same way she treats like her pet lizard, that she's just like, does he just, I just want to rub his cheeks. He's so adorable. By the way, Osokai never came back from your little adventure. He actually went off towards the woods with his new weird friend, a giant boar. And when I say giant, I don't mean truly giant, but nearly giant. So that's why he's not here at all right now. But so they walk outside and leave. And when they leave, you see that the rain is coming down nice and hard now. It is really raining pretty decent outside. One more thing, when you cast that detect magic, There are a few dresses in the corner. None of them show up as magical. There is the chest of silver. None of that shows up as magical. You did detect magic, not unsurprisingly, on Marezi's shovel that she had on her back when she walked out. But you did also get another glimmer from, y'all took a necklace from the wizard that you killed in the underground layer of Loft. You get a flash of magic from that, and you also get a flash of magic from the longsword that the evil paladin woman that Tix reduced to ash. You took both of those, and you do get a flash of magic from both of those.
Right. What kind of magic is on the necklace?
Very interesting. Not like the hags, but there is a duality spell. So there is one spell that is like a enchantment. And when I say enchantment, obviously everything is an enchantment with magic. I mean as in giving an enchantment.
Right,
like
doing something school of magic, right?
Yes, giving a benefit to others, like a buff or a bonus. And then there is also an equally dark and evil harming spell that is part of the necklace.
Oh.
So it appears to do two different things. Perhaps with time you might be able to discern what that is, but you do just from the detect magic, you can tell that. And the sword is absolutely a magic sword, and you can't quite get a clear reading on it. It's a little mysterious, but it is unquestioningly a magic sword.
Okay. We'll do some identifying a little later, but priorities. All right, so it's raining. Well, Tix, we kind of left the mining area in a hurry, and we kind of brought this corpse with us, and I'm not exactly sure what to do with it. It was kind of Marezi's idea to toss it in here, and now she's gone.
It was, and y'all were in the middle of a pitched battle. It wasn't the worst idea in the world. It just has repercussions for it.
We just didn't want to go rifling through his pockets in the middle of a battle. We had to go.
Well, let's get it over here in the middle, and then you can do a little prestidigitation.
Yes, I can do that.
Some of the mess, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Even though technically this has happened right after your combat there, I will, as the dungeon master, arbitrarily say that this is a new episode, so you all have your spells and abilities back.
Okay.
And occasionally, where the story demands it, I will keep that, but I just want to keep it fun. So you've had a sufficient rest where you do have all of your spells and abilities back, minus the detect magic. Okay. So describe to me how you would get rid of this corpse using prestidigitation.
I don't know about the corpse, but just cleaning up the blood.
Cleaning up the blood.
Yes, okay.
The blood and gore that's spattered everywhere. Yeah. That's what I'm going to
I was going to say, I don't think that works that way, so I wanted to get clarification. Gotcha.
Right.
No, you absolutely can, using your prestidigitation, slowly the blood spatters begin to fade and then go away. As I have mentioned numerous times, this hut is a nightmare inside. It has been lived in by a hag for an undetermined amount of time, and it is disgusting inside, but y'all have never really had a chance to clean it, so you're just making it less blood splattered at the moment. But you do have two corpses that do require attention.
One is dry and crunchy, and the other one is bloody and squishy.
Yep.
So do you need to check this one over for information?
I mean, not really, but maybe give him a once over just in case.
Okay.
Give me an investigation, if you would, Tix.
That's a 5.
Yeah, and there's not much to find. He's covered in blood, and both of them had already quickly gone through. Though y'all were at the time focused on the earrings, so it was possible you could have missed something.
Right.
But you don't see anything.
All right. Well, we can put it on top of the skull and see if the skull disposes of at least the liquid part of it.
Oh, that's gross. Do you really want to do that?
Well, if we have to feed the hut.
I mean, what if it's like sucking out the rest of its soul or something? I mean,
Well, if it still has any soul left, I would be very surprised.
I mean, not that this is a very nice guy. I mean, he did... Oh, you should have seen it. He was throwing around with swarms of doll bits and then using it to kill people with. It was really
I
weird.
grab the 2 arms and drag it over and slap the hands on the sides of the skull.
Okay. And for a moment, nothing happens. And then, Penton, you actually hear a voice in your head. You hear that same voice in Draconian and it says,
Food.
Yes.
and instantly the skull kind of just as like a intensifying of the red glow to a true red glow, like your halo except red. You see that you kind of get, there's like a tiny little involuntary jerk as whatever you sense that those two things just right into the hands, and unsurprisingly, within seconds, the body is drained of all blood. And y'all actually see it because he has a huge hole in his chest cavity. The dripping blood, like, literally just kind of back up into the exposed arteries and veins. And the body just withers.
Well, that's something you don't see every day.
Nor do I want to.
Penton, you actually feel a wash contentment coming from the entity, whatever it is, that it's just a pure satisfaction coming from it, and it offers a kind of a wordless thanks to you.
We'll call the chicken hut Audrey 3 from now on.
Tex, I think this thing is evil.
Well, it's basically like an animal. You have to feed the animal.
Let's go with that for now.
Allow it to do something. We will stay in control, and we can feed it offal from the butcher's market and see if that works.
Did you hear it talking, by the way?
No, you heard nothing, Tix.
No, I haven't heard anything.
I think it likes me.
Well, that's
it
a
likes
good
you.
thing.
It really likes you.
Duncan?
Yes?
Let's grab a bottle of wine and head back to the ship.
Now that I've desiccated a corpse, let's go have a drink.
Very good, very good.
Take a bath.
And while y'all head back, and by the way, it is now pouring rain, just gushing rain. Are you going to do anything to ameliorate the rain or anything as y'all walk? Not necessarily there is anything you can do.
I think we'll have fun taking each other's clothes off.
And the camera slowly pans up to the storm clouds, and a lightning bolt flashes and fade and come back. Penton, you are alone in the hut with two corpses, two very dried corpses. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you would like to do while you're here, either as far as getting rid of these corpses, as looking at the things? You sense that Aphil is not far away, that she is nested in an eave underneath a building. Okay. And is silently complaining to you about the rain, but not in a negative way. Okay. Just like, rain.
Housekeeping time.
Yeah. Let's do that. I feel like we should take the hut for a little walk. Okay. First, if she's nearby, to pick up Aphil so she can get out of the rain.
That's not a problem at all. She knows where you are as well, in general, and what you suddenly feel is that just by concentrating while you are inside the hut, you can make it move.
Ooh.
Now, you haven't had a chance. You haven't had a chance to experiment. It did come to you during the combat,
right?
From outside, but you definitely, just with your knowledge of Arcana, you sense that really controlling this hut is going to be very different inside as far as outside.
Okay.
It's basically like trying to drive a car by sticking your hand in and holding the wheel. You see what I mean?
Right.
But you no longer have to take hold of the skull. It just obeys your commands.
Nor do I want to.
There is also that. So where are you going?
I was thinking maybe a nice field somewhere where we can kind of put the bodies to rest somewhere. Okay. While we're doing that, I want to take another look over at the former human woman and see if I can't find out something about them. Just like to inform their family or what have you, just to pass that along. So if there's anything,
give me one more investigation check.
Sure. Make sure I got my numbers right. I as in for investigation. Well, do we have an investigation? Is that a thing?
Just you can just use straight intelligence if you don't have something relevant.
It's gather information.
Thank you.
Oh.
Your G.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So modified 14.
Modified 14. You do actually find inside one of her clothes, and like your heart kind of catches a little bit because just something. You grew up. Didn't you grow up on a farm?
Yeah.
Essentially, a very modest dwelling. This clothing that she is wearing is very homespun, and just there is no doubt in your mind, not even the slightest, that her mother sewed this into the tunic, and it's a name. It's Tillet, and you're almost certain that's her name, the name of this dead woman.
Gotcha.
And as far as where she's from, there's just nothing, there's not like identification cards like there are today, but you do think with fair certainty that this woman's name was Tillet,
Okay.
and that she was likely from that mining facility.
Okay. So once we get to the field, I'm going to kind of peek out the door and find a nice spot near a tree or something like that, and kind of imagine, this is going to be me testing the limits of my control over this thing. Imagine using the chicken feet to kind of dig a hole near the tree.
You find that the chicken's feet are really, really good at that.
That's what I thought it might be the case.
These are giant chicken feet, and they do exactly what chicken feet do: scratch, scratch, scratch. It takes a little while, but with the wetness, it's just pouring rain. You dig a little hole in the ground, more than enough to cover these two bodies.
Okay. And then once we got that, I'll have it lower down so I can set them to rest.
Do you want to say any words or anything?
For the mine owner, I'll just, spit. And for Tilly, did you say?
Tillet.
Tillet. I'll call her Tilly because we know each other pretty well now, I think. I'll just say, Tillet, I will try and find your family and let them know that you've been set to rest properly. I vow this.
Okay.
And then have the birdie feet cover them over.
Okay. As you finish that, you turn the hut around and start to head back to town. You're a few miles out, and now you're maybe like a half mile out.
Mm-hmm.
The rain is just coming down. The lightning is striking. Out of the sky comes a fireball. A very large fireball. Vroom! And it strikes in the city. And Tix, you are on the ship with Duncan, and y'all hear the sound of a massive explosion coming from the city. What would you like to do?
Well, that interrupts a fun time. So we find some dry clothes to put on, go stand on the edge of the ship to see what we can see.
Okay. You also, they were all hunkered down from the rain. But Brumio and Tuntun and several of the other sailors have run to the edge with this explosion. And you can see kind of the marketplace area of the town. Part of it is on fire. Even with the tremendous rain, something has set part of the town on fire. And the boat is just rocking and waving in all of the storm. And but you can see it off in the distance, less than a mile away.
It seems something powerful from the sea or the storm is bound to cause trouble. Duncan, sweetie, I have to go to work.
All right, well, you be careful, and you come back. We still have the rest of this bottle to get through.
Yes, we did. And so I get my stuff, and turn to Brumio and Tum-Tum, and tell them, guard the ship.
They actually, Tuntun actually salutes you and goes, "Yes, sir." You don't see Captain Jackson. You're not quite sure where she is right now. But, the ship is in dock, so she might just not be there right now. But he almost treats you like the captain with you being so close in with the owner of the ship. Now sole owner of the ship, I might add, with Loft being disgraced.
Very much so.
Yes, so y'all, you make your way towards, and Hinton, what would you like to do?
Continue into town and see what the heck came down from the sky. Other than, I'm assuming it's not just a fireball. I'd hope it's not just a fireball, but we'll see.
Okay. You come into the area and you recognize this area. It is the marketplace district, and it's very, very close to Skull's building.
Oh, does the building seem to be on fire? Is it okay? Is it just nearby and not ablaze yet?
Something has landed near that building, and it has set several things on fire, including her building. And you must imagine that the intensity of this fire is ridiculous. or at least partially magical, that it is still burning in this absolute downpour.
Right.
But part of her building and a few others nearby are actually on fire. You actually see a kind of ruffian, and he is actually running towards her building. It has a window with a display of her various, jewelry wares. And he takes a rock and he throws it into the window, and it smashes. And he reaches in. As he reaches in, you feel it even from here, even inside the hut. You feel a boom of the ward kicking in. To her credit, you actually feel that it's almost like got an early warning system, like it kind of pushes him back a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then he ignores it and reaches in again. And you remember that hold person spell that she did, and how it was not quite like a normal hold person spell. Imagine if an invisible 1,000-pound weight was suddenly dropped on this person.
Ouch. Yeah,
except he doesn't splat. He actually kind of collapses in on himself. It is kind of horrifying, and it's just, and then there is just, it's not even, but that's even almost in its own way terrifying mess. It's not like a bloody mess. He is just a compacted human remain, like a trash compactor left of a human.
I'm seeing too many dead bodies today.
Oh my goodness, yes. There's a lot of dead bodies in a lot of different ways. Nobody else reaches in there, but you do see that, and I'm just letting you know that her wards might have been activated by that, so just an FYI.
All right.
And Tix, you are coming up into the area. The first thing you see isn't the store, because you don't particularly know that. You notice whatever landed, it's kind of a big rock. You would not have the verbiage for a meteor or an asteroid or something like that. Something big like that has hit the ground, and it begins to and breaks open.
Martian comes out.
Martians come out and they say, back, attack, back. Actually, a very, very old elf comes out. An old elf woman comes out, and she is immediately pursued by several small demons. And I need everyone to roll for initiative.
Oh, boy. I got a 15. Benson got a 15.
Okay. Benson with the 15. And Tix?
I got a 23.
Wow.
La-dee-da.
The guys are being
fire.
nice to me.
Yeah, they really are. So I would like both Penton, I would like a perception check, and I would also like an arcana check. And Tix, I would like a religion check.
Okay, green is perception. Perception
Religion check
13.
is another 23.
Wow.
All right. Perception was 13. Arcana was a 20 natural.
A natural 20.
He
Okay.
knows everything.
Well, yes and no. So you in this chaotic environment and not really getting a look at her, what I want to let you know, Penton, is you've seen this woman somewhere before, but it's just like everything's crazy. You don't really see her face dead on.
It's the flash of recognition, right?
There's a flash of recognition, exactly. You've seen this woman before, but it's too much going on right now. But both of you, with rolling so high, you know exactly what these small creatures are. They have incredibly long, hooked noses. They have small, semi-vestigial wings, and their hands are nothing but claw. They are dancing through the fire. These are imps. These are minor demons. And both of you, from different reasons, because of your arcana knowledge and because of your religion knowledge, know exactly what these are.
Okay.
They are very resistant to fire, and they are completely and utterly evil. You, Tix, actually go first.
Okay. So, I am going to go to Protection from Evil first.
Okay.
And I'll cast that on Penton.
Okay. Pinson, you as you're kind of stepping out of the, poking your head out of the hut, you suddenly feel surround you, and then you notice Tix on y'all are essentially on the other side of the courtyard where these places are, and you're like, oh, well, thank you. And that will actually bring it to you, Pinson.
Okay. I was going to do that myself, but thanks for saving me the effort. All right, so right now I'm in the hut, standing near this her shop, Skull's shop. The imps are pursuing the old elf, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They are actively coming after her.
In hot pursuit, are they taking are they faster than her? Is basically my question.
You definitely think they will catch her.
Okay.
They're kind of like they're small, but they are fast, and they're kind of doing that thing where they like hop from little bits of rock and rubble, and they're going and they're chattering to each other in abyssal,
in kind of an impish way.
In an impish way, you might say.
I feel like my first what's the word I'm looking for? My first impetus is to Skull to make sure she's okay. And I want to do that by getting the hut to extend its legs so that I'm standing outside the second story window or like bedroom area and knock on the glass.
Okay. And as you had noted in the past, very wisely, there appear to be less wards or no wards on the upstairs, which is how that person was able to sneak in earlier. And you look through and you see actually that she is unconscious on the floor.
Oh.
She does, you don't think she is dead, but she is absolutely unconscious laying on the floor.
Okay. Then I'm definitely going to throw up the sash and go in and get her.
Okay. You can absolutely do that. It can be just a real quick athletic check.
Okay.
Just for
Just
funsies.
in case. Just in case I'm a weakling. 15? No modifiers.
15?
Yeah.
No, that's perfectly fine. It's serviceable. The hut, while you're inside it, is very responsive, and it lowers itself so that it's just kind of like a whoop, like step right across, like two docking things. And so you make your way in. What would you like to do? That was your part of your movement.
Literally just scoop her up and bring her into the hut.
Okay. I will say that you can do all of that on this round and bring her back into the hut, but that's your entire action. And that will bring it to the imps. So I'm going to make a quick roll here. Wow. Holy. Oh, okay. So of the 4 imps, each of them does look very distinct. The last one, however, is slightly larger than the others, and he is actually wearing like a very simple armor. It looks chitinous, shall we say? It is black and unpleasant looking, and that last one leaps over his brethren. You see the wings kind of come out just a little bit. You can't quite tell if he could really fly or not, or if it's just like a stabilization. And he comes down and slashes the back of the woman who has been running. And he actually does... That is double damage because It's a rear attack from behind. So he does 16 points of damage to this old woman. She screams and crumples to the ground. And she is not dead, but she is definitely quite injured. And it lets out just a blood-curdling... just cackle, just and it screams something at her in abyssal. And but all the other 3, they either couldn't get to her in time or missed, and so none of them have taken an action yet. They all failed in their attempt to get her. And that will bring it back to you, Tix.
I will run over and cast Sanctuary on her.
Interesting choice. Okay. And you feel that energy coursing through you and the blessing of glitter gold surrounding her, preventing all injury to her while that spell is up. That now will bring it to you, Benson. You have scooped her back into the hut. The hut extended itself upwards. It absolutely can reach a second floor. Not any higher than that, but It can reach a second floor by fully extending its little legs. They're usually kind of halfway bent as it's walking. And it's not like an escalator, but it was able to extend itself up to easily let you get in there.
Okay.
So now what would you like to do? You are inside the chicken hut. You have an unconscious Skull. A quick look, she does not appear to be like in mortal peril, but you do see that she's got a nasty knock on her head, which you suspect is what knocked her unconscious.
Right. I'll just lay her out gently but quickly and have the hut turn back toward the open area of the market. Yeah, let's set up for a distraction. I'm gonna throw a set of magic missiles at the lead imp, who is standing over the I'm now seeing fallen elf woman.
Okay.
All right, so that's and I'm, how far away am I from them at this point? Not too terribly far away, I imagine.
No, the courtyard isn't that big. Any of you could cross with your full action across the courtyard. So you definitely in range with magic missiles.
All right, silvery streaks shoot across the courtyard. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 1 is 8. And not so great. 13 points of damage.
13. And it just howls as your missiles. You actually sense that armor protected it somewhat. The 13 points probably would have been worse. But it gave it some protection. But it just howls and screams. And it whips around to you. And snarls. And it just guttural points at you. And lets out some kind of tirade of curses. But again, speaking abyssal, you don't know what it's saying. And that will, and then it opens up its hands, and you actually see the other 3 go around it and start to head towards you. And he will actually turn and attack the woman. And guess what happens? Absolutely nothing, because she has sanctuary and he cannot attack. He does realize what's happening. This does cause him to lose his attack, but he does begin to turn towards you, Tix. He seems to sense what has happened. And the leader turns and starts to move towards you. The other 3 are moving towards you, Penton.
Okay.
And just scrambling towards you. That is a 3. That is a 4, but the middle one got a 18, which is a 19 with their total. Does that hit?
Yeah, so it will hit me if they're aiming for me.
Yes, they are.
What's coming at me?
3 imps, and 2 of them come at you, and you pop, block them both with your staff, but the third comes up the middle and just scratches down the center of your chest. Fortunately for you, he rolls a 1, which with his damage bonus is still 3 points of damage. Is not an insignificant amount to Penton.
No.
How many hit points does Penton have?
I just lost a quarter of my hit points already.
Yes. It's not great. So you have taken 3 points of damage, and that was all of those imps' turns. That will actually bring it back to you, Tix. The leader imp is closing in on you with murderous intent.
Well, I will jump on him and cast Inflict Moderate Wounds.
Okay.
That is a 16.
16. Okay. And that will hit. So roll for damage.
That's 3d8.
Oof.
It's a pretty badass spell.
I like it. 15 points of damage.
Ooh-ha.
15 points of damage. So you have now done a total of 28 points of damage. Tell me what happens when you kill this demonic imp.
When I dive on him, I shove one hand in his face and reach for one hand towards his neck to drive him into the pavement, saying my prayer of destruction to Garl Glittergold to get rid of this foul beast. And I can feel the necrotic damage burning his demonic skin as his face liquefies and his neck liquefies and all the ichor drains out of him.
That is exactly what happens, and it looks super cool and horrifying as as his face liquefies, and the armor actually turns to ash with him, perhaps because of its just evil nature. It can't stand in the presence of your god, and so there is nothing but a pile of gooey ash on the ground. And he is dead. And that will bring it to you, Penton. You have 3 imps that are coming at you with murderous intent. Oh. One of them is scratched across your chest.
I just remembered something. These are other planar creatures of evil intent, correct?
That is correct.
They can't physically come into contact with me because of the because of the protection from evil. I have a.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
They can use weapons, but not like claws.
Well, and I specifically said that he used claws. So we will retract that 3 points of damage, and what we'll say is that he raked across you, and that there were just sparks coming off from this magical protection that had been given to you, and you're very glad that the cleric of the group was thinking about the very squishy sorcerer, and those claws just spark and scrape, and you actually smell the sulfur from this demonic being, but they can't get at you. When that does happen now, they all pull out small weapons. And they are going to move in again, but do retract those 3.
Gladly.
Yes, and it is still your turn.
Okay. All right. I'm basically still standing in the doorway of the hut. How much of my efforts in a round does mentally controlling the hut take for me?
You're not quite sure if you will be able to simultaneously command this hut to attack and attack yourself. You would basically just have to try and see what would happen, because you've never done it before.
Right.
You've never tried to do both, I should say.
Right. Well, let's give it a shot. I'm going to have the hut rear up and try and catch two of them underfoot.
So I would like you to roll an Arcana check.
Okay. Drum roll. 16?
16. So this is what you discover when you try to do that. Mentally controlling the hut is linking into the part of your mind that uses magic. That coursing core of your spell scale sorcerer self. So you can command the hut to do things in combat, but you are not able to also use spells.
Okay. What about physical attacks?
You think, yes, you will be able to do physical attacks. You will, however, have a -2 because you are concentrating on it. However, you will be able to do physical attacks. And by the way, that 16 was a hit.
Oh.
And so you actually need to roll 2d10.
Oh, squishy.
Are these 2 separate rolls or one?
It is just one attack.
Okay. 10 points.
10 points. So that is not enough to kill it, but one of them has been hit, and I'm going to roll a little thing here, and he is actually successfully pinned by the hut right now. The hut cannot move without unpinning him.
Right.
But he is now pinned by the hut, and just boom, right into the cobblestones, and you actually see them crack underneath the imp. He ain't feeling so good.
Okay. And since you mentioned it, I'm going to take my -2 attempt and swing with my quarterstaff at one of the other ones.
Okay.
That's probably not going to do it. It's 8.
Yes, unfortunately not. You're still getting used to trying to attack while also mentally controlling this hut, and it's just... And he's easily... And by the way, these guys are really fast. You suspect that most of their quote-unquote armor class is from their speed, since they're not essentially wearing any armor.
Right.
And that will bring it to the other 2. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
So...
Oh, it's too many dice.
Yeah. So they did a total... Oh, I apologize. First, let me clarify. One rolled a natural 18, which is 19. One rolled a natural 19, which is 20. So I believe both of those hit.
Oh, yeah. What's the AC bonus from... Is there an AC bonus from the spell? +2? Actually, only one of them would hit then.
Well, that is very fortunate for you. And but it still does 6 points of damage.
Okay.
By the way, it would have been 12 points of damage if they had both hit.
Yeah, it would have been.
So so you really take that hit. It comes in with its knife, and you're a little slow on the uptake because you're still getting used to this whole mental combat, physical combat thing. It's like patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time.
Yeah.
And so you are really glad that you had that protection from evil earlier. But you have still taken 6 points of damage, and it actually brings it back to you, Tix. You see the woman is laying on the ground trying to pick herself up. She is covered by the sanctuary and is still alive, thanks to you. Pinton has just pinned one of them beneath the chicken hut. The two others are swarming him, trying to flank him, and one of them has successfully stabbed him with a small knife, and he don't look so great.
As I'm running towards him to engage the imps, I yell, "You okay?"
No.
And so I will cast, I'll cast Aid on him.
Okay. And tell the listeners what that does.
Aid gives +1 on attack, but also, more importantly in this case, 1d8 +1 per level hit points.
Okay, go ahead and roll for that.
That is a total of 9 hit points for you.
9 extra temporary hit points. And you feel them just bolster through your body. Your wound does not close, but you just feel the strength of his god just lifting you up. And you feel just like $1,000,000 all of a sudden.
Excellent.
And it is actually your turn, Pinton.
Okay. All right.
Now,
So go ahead.
Just to clarify, with the creature being pinned, it will have a chance to get out of that pin, but you can command it to do more damage to the pinned person without losing the pin.
Right.
Just an FYI.
Well, let's do that.
Okay.
Squeezy squeeze.
2d10, please.
Okay. Twist.
Tell it to do the chicken dance.
Yes.
Oh, that's 20 points of damage.
Dun, dun,
20
dun,
points of
Double
damage.
O's.
So tell me what it looks like when this giant chicken foot kills this little imp.
Oh, you've got to insert the chicken dance theme right there.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It stomps 4 times. The imp is just basically plunged into the earth and covered in mud and just, asphyxiated and crushed.
Gotcha.
Yay! Crush
Just
him.
Kind of like
There's
that. Yeah.
And remember, this is all happening in the pouring rain. So already this little puddle is starting to form where this indention is made in the cobblestones, and it's just like oozing like greenish black blood starts to float back up. But there's almost nothing left of this imp. And that still leaves you with your physical attack if you so desire. There's still 2 left.
Well, I'm right on top of him, and I'm not really getting it away at this point, so I may as well take a swing.
Mm-hmm. You have a +1, so you only have a -1 now.
Right. Normally a +3 and a -2, and then a +1.
Yes. Math!
So that would make it a modified 21.
That'll
for
definitely
that
hit.
swing. All right, so D6 plus 1, I believe. Yes. 5 points of damage.
Okay, and you get him with a really solid whack across you're kind of starting to get the hang of this whole mental thing. It feels strange to you to not have immediate access to those magical abilities.
Right.
And it's not that they're gone. It's just
You're just taking a
it's
back
like,
seat.
Right. It's like trying to carry on a conversation while someone is whispering in your ear. You just can't do it. And that will actually bring it to the imps, and unsurprisingly, they're going to attack you.
I just brought it to the imps. What?
Yeah. But you lucked out this time because they rolled a 14 and a 6. So both of them just are trying to, but they're slipping in the wet. They're used to hellfire and brimstone, not wet cobblestones. And that will bring it around to you, Tix.
And so I will jump on. Do either of them have their back to me?
Yeah, actually.
Flanking.
Yeah, both of them have their back to you because they're attacking the spell scale sorcerer who's opposite you.
Are they side by side?
They are.
Any chance I could roll to knock them down?
I would let you try to do that. You would not, if you're trying to knock them down, I would not let you do damage.
Oh, okay.
But I would allow you to try to knock both of them down. It'd be kind of like a bull rush kind of move.
It'd be better just trying to do this. Yeah. So I will jump on. Nope. I don't have any more spells for. I guess I'm going to use my axe and do a jumping leap onto the back one and try and plant my axe in the middle of its head.
Okay. Roll for that.
And that's a natural one.
Okay. I'd like you to now roll a percentage die and let me know what you get. And lower is better.
Timing is everything. I knew I was getting too good at rolls. That's a 35.
You just missed. It's fine. And that will bring it to you, Penton. You've got these two guys crowding you in.
All right. I'm going to first have the hut try and pin down the other one that is not yet injured.
Okay.
I'll give that a swing here. That is it's a straight 14. I don't know if there's any modifiers that apply to that.
Oh, it's your attacks with the chicken hut are your arcana.
Oh, right. Okay. So 16 then.
16 will hit.
Okay. And is that just a pin maneuver, or does that do the?
It's just this will be a successful pin. So the next round you will actually do damage.
Okay. All right. So he's down
out of combat. Yes.
All right, and then I'll take a swing at the other one that I had already hit before. And that is an 18.
18 hits.
All right, which will give him a measly 3 points of damage.
3 points. You've done 8 points of damage, so you just pop across the face, and his, this imp who is, used to dark demonic rites is just getting beat up with a stick. Just, like, just screaming at you in abyssal.
Well, it is a slightly glowy stick.
With a slightly glowy stick, with a magic stick. And that will bring it to him. He rolls a 2, so he's not doing well. And the other one rolls a 7 to escape from his pin. So he is unsuccessful. And that brings it back of the round to you, Tix. They are aware of your presence now. But you are technically flanking this last one.
Okay.
Did she give you, a +2, I believe?
Swing away at that one.
You are correct. He gets a +2.
Let's not roll the 1. That is still a natural 1.
Oh my goodness. Roll one more time for me. Those percentages.
I knew I was rolling too good at the beginning of this.
It always comes back to us in the end.
That's a 26.
Whew.
That's just a miss. No problem. And that brings it to you, Penton.
Okay. Squishy squish.
2d10.
Let's see. 8 points of damage.
Okay. You just hear this as he's slowly being crushed into the mud and the cobblestones next to his compatriot.
Right,
There's like one little wing sticking out.
All right. And I'm going to try and beat the pride out of this other imp.
Okay.
14 is the roll.
Unfortunately, that will not hit.
Okay. That kind of figured.
Yeah. And that brings it to the one final free imp who is no longer flanking you, and he rolls a 2, so ain't gonna do it. So back to you, Tix.
Tix is going to swing away one more time. That, thankfully, is a 17.
That will definitely hit, so roll for damage on that.
Well, it's been a while since I've used my axe. That is 6 points of damage.
6 points of damage. That head comes clean off. Just
yay!
Had to jump up to do it, but
Yeah. These no, he doesn't because these are imps.
Oh, right, they're pretty small, aren't they?
Oh, I imagine I'm just swinging around. And I whiffed on that one, and just kept on spinning and spinning and spinning, and came around for the good hit.
Yeah, you swung the first time with that last time with the 1, and it ducked down. And it came back up and did like you're looking right in his face, Penton, and he's like, and then there's that moment of pause, and then the head just
only the penitent
forward.
imp shall pass.
That's right. That's right. And you've got one final one with 8 points of damage on the ground, crushed by the being crushed by the thing. Do you want to continue crushing it?
Squishy squish.
Okay.
That's 11 more points.
Just for funsies. Okay, yeah, no, he doesn't escape. How much? 11 points?
Yes.
Yep. No, you just hear this slight, and that's the sound. That's the sound of his skull just popping open and just a little bit of brains and eyeball just coming out as just the right pressure is put down by the chicken leg hut, and pop, the head just pops. And combat is over. Y'all are victorious.
Right. Tix, go take a look at the lady and make sure she's okay.
Yeah, I ran back over there and used my last level 1 Cure Light Wounds on her. That is 12 points healed.
Okay, so you have effectively taken most of the damage. She took quite a lot of damage from that Imp Prime, so she's down to only 4 points of damage. So she's doing a lot better now. She was looking in really rough shape. And she just looks at you so gratefully. Pinson, what are you doing?
I'm going to go inside and check on Skull.
Okay. You see that she's slowly starting to come back to consciousness, but she's not quite sure, like where she is or what's going on. You suspect she might have some kind of concussion or something like that.
Right.
But she's not in horrible shape. But,
is she wearing her enhanced utilities?
Yes, she has both the necklace on and the earrings.
All right, I'll just kind of gently help her up and give her a little water, just to...
Gotcha. And
get her centered.
Says, what happened?
Thing fell out of the sky. Big boom. Fire in the marketplace. Imps running around. And an old elf. The end.
Must be Tuesday.
So
I'm just kind of slowly back a little bit.
I lead the woman into our chicken hut.
Remember earlier I said to you, Pinton, that you recognized this woman, but you didn't get a good look at her.
Uh-huh.
Well, now you do. As Tix leads her into the hut, she comes in, and she's wearing a very simple, like a peasant dress, nothing fancy. But you recognize her instantly because she was the penultimate moment of the first major quest of your life. You are now staring into the eyes of the witch of the lowlands. And that's where we'll end! Chafing Armor, number 49. We'll pick up next time and see what's going on with this woman that I had referenced in the very first episode of Chafing Armor. And has been your quest right now, by the way, to find the Witch of the Lowlands.
Sweet.
And so apparently she came to you in most unexpected way.
Yeah.
We'll find out what's going on with her. We'll see what's going on with a few things with Tix. We will roll with you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.